Hi everybody and welcome back to Lost Genre Reddit Stories. Quick warning and info before we begin. In today's first story there is mention of self-harm, and also today's video has two stories and both of them have updates. So let's get started with the first one. This post is from the subreddit Relationship Advice and it's by user Ich verstehe dich. My 27 male girlfriend, 25 female of 2 years, doesn't know I speak her native tongue. I've been in absolute shock for the past few days. I have no idea what to think or do. My girlfriend, Grace, is German and I am American. We have been dating for 2 years and everything about her was absolutely perfect. She is incredibly intelligent and so beautiful. We have so much in common. Our relationship has felt so unreal. I knew like a year ago that this was the girl I wanted to spend the rest of my life with. So, I decided to begin learning German and planned to propose in German. I've been studying it for a little over 6 months and I'm pretty decent at this point and can understand some things. Well, here is where the issue begins. My family, Grace, and I were at a resort in a tropical place for vacation before we went back to school and work and stuff. It was great at first. We had so much sex and spent so much time chilling, talking, and having fun. I wanted to be by her side day and night. Then, 2 days ago, we were all having dinner at those huge buffets they have at resorts. It was a lot of fun and there were conversations going on from all sides. My family likes Grace a lot and they know that I'm going to propose. At this point, I know German well enough to know the gist of basic conversations. A little while after we began eating, a man that I'd never seen before comes up to my girlfriend and says something in German. I've been replaying the moment in my head every second for the past 2 days, so I know exactly how it went. The guy said, "This is the guy? Am I gonna see you tonight?" And she replied, "Perhaps if you behave." Then he left. I immediately felt completely dissociated from reality and so much emotion ran through. I have no recollection of what happened immediately after this. I have no idea if she explained who the guy was or just let it go. I don't know what my family was talking about. I was just sitting there. When I came to my senses, I felt like a robot. I felt like I had absolutely no control over my emotions and I felt like I had no emotions at all. I think 5 minutes or so passed since he left. I was acting pretty natural and excused myself to the bathroom. I washed my face but still felt no emotion. I went back and the whole night went normally. The next day I was acting completely normal as well. It was only this morning that I broke down into tears in the shower. I mean, maybe I should ask her about everything first, but there is only one explanation, right? Their entire interaction felt super flirty and I have never been the type of guy to be insecure and overprotective in a relationship, so I really do believe that my mind is not lying about the flirty vibes I got. If she did F this stranger, then it must have been while I was asleep or something because we were together the entire time I was awake. I feel like throwing up. I'm writing this in the lobby of our resort and she is sitting a few feet away from me. I have been acting normal and haven't brought anything up. We even had sex yesterday. I clearly have not been handling all of these emotions properly. I recognize that, but I really feel like I'm going crazy and totally desperate at the same time. I've been wanting to bring it up, but I just can't. Every time I see her, my mind goes robotic. Maybe she's not even cheating, maybe there's a solid explanation, maybe she explained it right after the exchange but I just wasn't listening. As much as I love this girl, I wouldn't stay with her under any circumstances if I found out she cheated. Maybe I'll revenge cheat, that might feel good. No, it won't. I don't know what to do. I can't seem to talk to her about this. Please help me. Am I crazy? Am I overthinking things? Well, Opie, without any initial assumptions, it does look like she cheated on you with this guy, or else why wouldn't he just introduce himself to you? He just stood by her, chuckled, asked about you, you know this but they don't know you know this, and then walked away. If it would have been any other kind of conversation, I would think that the guy would have just introduced himself to you, or she would have introduced him to you before they started talking about anything. The weather, TV, something. except sex. Now, you mentioned that when you heard this, that you know this conversation to be true, everything just shut down for you and you don't know if she explained anything. Well, there is an easy way to find out. You ask her. Now, the good thing about you asking her is that you actually know what the conversation was about. You know what was going on. So anything else that she tells you, you know is a lie. And the great thing about knowing the truth of what really happened is that you're impervious to gaslighting, blame shifting, manipulation, guilt, name calling, all of the things that are in the cheater's playbook. In summary, OP, that's what I would do. I would ask her. I wouldn't confront her. I wouldn't yell at her. I wouldn't tell her I know what I know and all that stuff because I want to see how she reacts. And what do you guys think about this whole situation? What would your advice be for OP? Let me know in the comment section, and now let's move on to the community comments to see what they said. Gavroche15 says, okay, you need to talk to her. First, ask her what the guy said to her last night. Let her tell you as specifically. If she says something like, he just said hello, tell her you want to know exactly what he said. If she tells the truth and has a reasonable explanation, you are all good and it was just a misunderstanding. But if she lies, it is time to tell her that you have been keeping a secret from her and that you think that keeping secrets and lying in a relationship are terrible things to do to someone you care about. And tell her in German, I speak German and you just lied to me. And in your native tongue, say, that is a terrible thing to do to someone you care about. Now, would you like to explain to me what you were really talking about and tell me what you did after I went to sleep last night? Ship Captain says, ask her in English who that guy was and what she said. That will tell you whether your girlfriend is a liar or not. From that, the decision should be obvious. DDD615 says, 6 months is not enough time to be fluent. Talk to her, sure, but do it knowing you probably misunderstood. Ask a third party that actually freaking speaks German. Honestly, if you moved to Germany and studied every day for hours, you would still misunderstand all the time. Slang, idiomatic expressions, dialect. You don't speak German. You are not fluent. You probably wouldn't be even if you studied it for the rest of your life in a country where it is not the dominant language. And Joey Bag of Anusis, yes, Anusis, I made that choice, says, is it possible that she was shutting this guy down and you misunderstood? I mean, 6 months is not enough to be fluent. Are there any other red flags? Is she protective of her phone? A sudden increase of interest in her looks? Is anything else out of the ordinary? You are in a really tough spot. You think you heard something, but of course there could be a valid explanation and she could also come up with a great cover explanation. So just confronting her with what you have right now won't really ease any concern, and if she is cheating, then you've just put her on alert to be really careful. And you're not going to throw away a 2-year relationship with marriage potential over a maybe, but it will tear at you. I highly suggest you sit tight and put yourself in a mind space where you are assuming she is not cheating, but you are more vigilant about awareness of what is going on. After a while of this heightened awareness, if nothing else comes up, then you gotta assume you misheard or misunderstood. So just to be clear, if you confront her now, you will regret it. You need to sit tight and observe. Alright, well, I think OP got pretty good advice from people who didn't get hung up on him knowing a language. But here's the thing, these people were assuming that OP was fluent. OP never said he was fluent. He said he could understand the gist of basic conversations. Big difference. And I have to say, yeah, 6 months is good enough to learn German up to an A2 level. If you apply yourself, of course. If not, 6 months to reach the A1 level is double the time you would actually need. At least that was my experience. Now, unfortunately, OP did not reply to any comments, which means we move on straight with the update to see what happened next and how the story ends. But of course, before that, you know that here's another one of my playlists for you to enjoy after this video. Now let's move on with that update. First of all, a lot of people thought the last story was fake. One of the common themes was that I learned the language too quickly. It is very possible to reach past the A1 level in a language, being able to have a basic conversation in around 3 months. Das ist richtig. Also, I am fluent in another language other than English, which has a lot of similarities with German. The combination of the two made learning much simpler, and I'm going to continue improving in the language as it's become a hobby at this point. Anyway, my life has taken a complete 180. I was planning on never going on this account again, but I'm feeling better about everything and I hate when other people don't update, so she did cheat unfortunately. Side note about me, I've struggled with mental health for a large part of my life. I've had life-ending thoughts from time to time, and my anxiety and depression continued to get worse, but I never told anyone, and I know I hid it very well. This was a huge mistake on my part. I suppressed a lot of these memories, and these feelings started becoming more sparse. My mental health had been good for a while before I had an episode. We were still at the resort at this point. I should have waited until we were back home probably, but I couldn't wait. We had 2 days left at the resort before coming home. As some users have mentioned, I asked her about the situation in English, and if she lied, I planned on speaking to her in German. I just asked her who was that guy, but she didn't lie. After about 10 seconds of stuttering, she burst into tears and left. Again, the same feeling came upon me after she left. I felt like I was a spectator looking into my life and I had no control over my actions. I felt like I had so many emotions and no emotions going on at the same time. About half an hour later, she texted me a very long message about every detail, everything that happened, and she apologized. I never answered. The short version of what happened. Basically, she went for a nighttime walk one night because she couldn't sleep while I was asleep early one night. We both do this often, so I believe it. She ended up coming across some show thing they had going on in the resort and met some random people who were all drinking. They happened to be German. She decided to drink with them to have some fun and ended up going back to that guy's room. She ended up really connecting with the guy aside from just sex. They exchanged numbers and were texting often when we were here. She felt horrible, but she was confused. That's the gist. I'm trying to think objectively here, and if she really likes the guy as much as it hurts me, I always stress that people should do what they want and focus on their happiness first. He was also really damn handsome. I was too emotional to admit that in the last post, but I was not able to keep a straight mind after she left initially. I never had a reason to be angry before in my life. I know I have a temper, but it usually takes a lot to get me even irritated. The feelings I had and the thoughts I had were so horrible that I don't feel comfortable typing it out. It was so hard to keep it in and I lost the ability to focus on reality. When I saw her the next time, she wanted to talk to me and apologize in person, but I felt like I didn't have the energy to say a word. I avoided speaking to her for the remaining days. I was trying my best to avoid my family, but when I saw them, I think I must have been acting weird because they clearly knew something was off. It was all very awkward going back on the plane and not telling my family anything when it must have been so obvious something was off. I sat next to her on the plane, which was so weird. At least she respected the fact that I didn't want to talk. She continued trying to talk and text me after we landed, but at that point, I never wanted to see or hear from her again, so I blocked her on everything. I was acting very impulsively that entire week. My semester was about to start, but I quickly cancelled all my classes and decided to take this semester off. I booked a last-minute vacation to a place I've always wanted to visit. I bought a lot of random crap I don't need. I did some semi-hard drugs that I had never imagined myself doing before. I spent some nights with escorts. I got into fights with random guys at bars. I actually felt very good. I woke up every day feeling like I was on top of a mountain. But after a week of feeling awesome, I came back to my senses. There was a stereotypical cliché movie moment instant where I was puking in a club bathroom with that heartbeat music sound, and I started laughing and realizing how I was effing up my life. So I decided to see a therapist, who then referred me to a psychiatrist. I guess I am crazy. And I was diagnosed with borderline personality disorder with bipolar 2. I've never heard of BPD before, but after reading about it, I felt like some of the symptoms were things I've struggled with since I was very young. I guess this trauma really made the symptoms set off something worse. Fast forward to today. I still have this semester off, I am continuing treatment and will probably start medication soon. I still haven't spoken to Grace. She contacted my sister, but I didn't want to hear what she had to say. I've been kinda avoiding my family and close friends, and I should stop that. I think I learned a lot about myself and definitely learned that I am not ready for a relationship. This was a wake-up call. The anger and sadness has mitigated and I feel like myself again. I don't think anything else will happen, so I won't be on the account anymore. Thanks for all the advice. I apologize for not answering anyone. I just didn't really want to talk to anyone. But I read everything, and thanks for the PMs too. Well, Hoopy, that story took a turn I wasn't expecting, but I have to say, congratulations on the things that you've done. Sure, you took a detour based on the euphoria you were feeling and went down a really dark hole, but you came out of it, you realized that you were effing up your life and you got help. So good for you. I hope whatever treatment or help you are getting does enable you to have a more fulfilling life. Here's wishing all the best in the future for you, OP. Thank you for sharing and take care. Now, let's move on to the next post that, like I said in the beginning, also has an update. This post is from the subreddit Relationship Advice, and it's by user PurpleLawn87. My 22 female neighbor, 70s female, told me about a woman, 20s female, visiting my boyfriend, 22 male, when I'm gone. Okay, going to keep this short because I really don't know what else to say. We've been together with my boyfriend for 3 years and he moved in with me last year. I was already living here for a year or so and developed a friendship with my lovely neighbor. She's retired and a really sweet lady. She basically knows everyone in the neighborhood and sits at home most of the day. Today she came up to me and said that she had something to tell me, but that I shouldn't get mad at her. I told her I would never get angry with her and to go ahead. She said that when I've been gone, probably a late shift or when I'm visiting someone, I don't know, she has seen a woman come into my house and leave before I come back. I pressed her for more details and she said that as far as she knows, she's seen her come by 3 times and that she thought I should know. When she leaves, she hugs and kisses my boyfriend and she believes she stays for at least an hour or 2. She gave me some generic details about her appearance but nothing specific. Of course, all alarm bells are going off in my head. There are no signs my boyfriend is cheating and we've talked about how we would rather end things instead. He did start working overtime more, but I have a friend at his company who talked about this too and he's bringing in bigger paycheck, so that adds up. I don't want to jump to conclusions. How do I approach this? What do I do and how do I confront my boyfriend? I don't know anything for sure and it could be anything at this point. I'm really freaking out right now. Well, OP, of course this situation sucks and it's understandable that you'd be freaking out. But fortunately, there's only 2 things that could have happened. 1, your boyfriend is cheating on you, or 2, your neighbor got it wrong. Which of course that's me just being Captain Obvious. But for the purpose of this analysis, you have some information. Go check it with your boyfriend. Now, before coming to your boyfriend, make sure that you have all the information available and ready for you to bring up. For example, dates, times, and the most accurate description that you can get from your neighbor. And when you have all that, you ask him, you present the situation to him. You tell him that your neighbor came to you with all of this information and that you really just want to know what's going on. I would try to ask this in the most neutral way to gauge his reaction. If he's lying, I assume he's gonna straight up attack the neighbor. She's senile, she's old, whatever. And if he's not cheating on you, then he's gonna clarify it. Probably won't even get upset or anything. That depends on his temper. But that's the way I would go about it. What about you guys? How would you go about this situation? Let me know in the comment section, and now let's move on to the community comments to see what they said. Campus Tour says 2 approaches. 1. Hey, how's your friend that visits while I'm gone? 2. I know about the other woman you're seeing. You have 1 chance to sit down right here, right now, and come clean 100%. Otherwise, you're moving out, and you're moving out now. 1 lie, 1 omission, and you're gone. If you in any way fear his reaction or plan on throwing him out anyway, I'd have a few friends on standby. And OP responds, this is pretty useful, thanks. I think I'm going with number 1 and work towards 2 if it doesn't check out. I'm confronting him tomorrow. Deleted says, give your neighbor your number, ask her to call you when she sees the visitor. What if she is seeing you going to work and not realizing it's you? And OP responds, she would definitely recognize me, and the woman has a different hair color, so I know for sure it's someone else. I don't have enough patience for this option though, it's eating me alive. And the church lord says, do the crazy thing and install hidden cameras. Alright, well, the majority of the community thinks OP's boyfriend is cheating and the neighbor could not possibly confuse her. She also got some pretty good ideas. So now let's move on to the update to see what happened next and how this story ends. I almost didn't make this post because I feel so stupid, but there were so many people who wanted an update, so why not? Thanks to everyone who gave advice last time. The next morning I decided to confront my boyfriend. I wanted the truth from him. I was very upset to say the least. So I asked him who the woman was that was coming over when I was gone. He looked kinda confused and then started chuckling. I asked him why he was laughing and that I wasn't joking around. He's been preparing to propose to me, and one of my best friends came over to look at rings and talk about how and where he should do it. I felt really guilty for assuming that he was cheating, but even he admitted that it didn't look very good. He showed me some of the plans they had made and the texts between them, but that he is going to change things up now that I know. I kind of ruined the surprise, but oh well. I called my friend afterward and she couldn't believe what happened and we shared a few laughs. He's been working overtime to get me a ring and I don't know how I missed all the signs. She only came over twice, so I guess my neighbor is not that sharp anymore, lol. Looking back, it all makes so much sense. My friend has been low-key asking about getting engaged, what kind of ring I would like, etc. I feel really stupid and bad for assuming the worst, but my boyfriend doesn't hold it against me and said he would probably have handled it the same way. I'm so happy that we're cool now. Thought of cheating was so tough on me that I already called in sick Monday. For anyone wondering, I already told him I'm going to say yes. Smiley face. Well, OP, nothing left to say, but congratulations on your upcoming engagement, I want to say, now that you know. But anyways, you're happy, your boyfriend's happy, everybody's happy. So thank you so much for sharing and wishing you guys all the best in the future. Take care, OP. And that's it for today's video. Thank you so much for taking the time to watch it. Now, if you've gotten to this point in the video, I assume that you like these stories that I'm reading out. So here are a couple more that you might enjoy. And if you don't have any time to watch another story right now, save it for later. And also, don't forget to hit that subscribe button.